Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual Cobalt Cafe. My name is Rick Lupert. Glad to have you all here with us for week number 242 of the virtual Cobalt Cafe poetry reading. Tonight, in addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Keith Marr. We tried to have Keith earlier last year, or later last year, earlier than now, I should say. It's awkward once the year is turned over how to appropriately discuss the passage of time. But anyway, there were some technical difficulties, and we had to abort. So we're excited that Keith is back with us tonight, and we're going to do a little bit of our open reading first, and then we will hear Keith read, and then have the rest of the open reading. Tonight, just a little bit of a different situation here in that Facebook has announced that they're no longer going to archive videos live videos longer than 30 days old. And so I have sent this over to our YouTube page, which is where we will now be doing the live simulcast, and then I will also post the link to the event, the YouTube event, in the Facebook group for those of you who want to make sure to still have access to it. So you can click over to YouTube to watch it there, and a Zoom link will be there as well. It's a little extra steps, a few extra steps, which I'm still kind of wrapping my head around, and which I haven't even yet completed yet, as I try to manage all the different people who are coming in. In fact, it's too complicated. Tonight is canceled. Good night. Just kidding. I see Richard was ready to leave there as well. Just takes a quick idea for us to end this whole thing. I will say I do have a few people in the chat whose names I don't recognize. I mean, in the waiting room. One person named iPhone. So if you know someone whose name is iPhone, please let me know about them. Or if someone has alerted you that they're waiting and haven't been let in, please let them know to log out and change their full name. Also, Pragalba Doshi, Soy Avocado Jennifer, and Edward Foreman. If anyone knows any of those folks, let me know, and I will let them in. Otherwise, I will just send more pointed messages to them, letting them know that I'm not going to let them in until we figure out who the heck they are. So, having said all that, if you would like to participate in the open and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat, as Scott Norman Rosenthal and Ken Scott have done. So they've been added to the list as well as everyone who signed up earlier. Speaking of reading, when it's your turn, I'll let you know, and you will have the opportunity to unmute yourself, and you can read up to 2 poems. That is the maximum number of poems that you can read, and then the suggested time limit is less is more. There you go. We also have a 1 drink minimum here at the Cobalt, so make sure that you honor that in whatever way you feel appropriate. And finally, the chat room is available for you to interact with each other throughout the festivities, react to what it is that you hear people saying when it is your turn to read, etc., blah, 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 a la mode, ipso facto, etc. I think I repeated, etc. My apologies. So there you go. That's it. That's everything I need to tell you from the get-go. Before we get on to our first reader, I would like to ask if there are any questions. Denise Dumar, yes.
Yes. I actually have a serious question.
Okay.
I've been planning a trip to Vancouver for near the end of April. And I want to know if I should still plan, or if you think we will be at war with Canada by then.
If we do go to war with Canada, I think it will be very quick, and the turnover will it'll just happen like that. So it'll be you won't even need a passport after, I'd say, a day and a half. So and Vancouver is a beautiful city, and you should definitely go there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, no problem. Martin, yes.
There we go. Hello, Rick. Yes, I was just wondering if you might happen to remember the first word you ever learned in French.
I don't remember the first word I learned in
Or
French.
any other language besides English.
The only first word story that I actually remember, and I did take French for a number of years, and I know a lot of words in French, so much so that I can pretend it sounds like I know what I'm talking about when I get there. But then they immediately respond so quickly and with confidence that I'll know what they're saying, that I completely lose my ability to comprehend, and we have to convert to English really quickly. But the only actual first word story I remember is my son's first word, which was "uh-oh." There you go. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I just unmuted you. Didn't realize you were saying something else there.
Sorry, that's the way it is with my sister. I try to speak with her Spanish anymore. She knows she can talk rings around me. My first word, in case anybody's interested, was parapluie, which means umbrella.
Parapluie, yes. I've spoken that word confidently in Montmartre after having fondue, and I'd left my umbrella in another nearby cafe, and I had to say, "J'ai oublié mon parapluie," one of my finest moments. Thank you, Martin. Cathabelle, I thought I saw you twinkling your question fingers. Yes, go for it.
Thank you. Rick, what is your favorite getaway?
Did you say where or what?
What? Or could be where, whatever.
Or wherever, for that matter.
Or wherever. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy in Paris, I'd have to say. Yeah. That's probably my favorite place to go. I don't think I've ever gone to Paris and not wept that I was there. But that having been said, I have a good time just about anywhere, except maybe Anchorage. I didn't think Anchorage was that great.
Oh, right. Thank you, Rick.
All right.
Nice.
Any other
You have a good
questions?
time everywhere.
Yeah. Antonietta, yes.
Hi. I have a question that it might turn into an ad for reading. Do you know a round robin?
Do I know a round robin?
Mm-hmm.
Like a robin, a person named Robin who's round in shape?
It could be a bird.
It could be a bird, sure. I don't know that I've personally met a round robin, but I'm open to meeting a round robin.
Yeah, you can check one on the fourth Friday in Santa Monica. And you get to read the poems to the round robin in Santa Monica. So I'll be sending more clues later.
Great. Well, that was indeed, as foretold, more of an ad than a question, Antonietta. But thank you for at least being honest about that from the get-go. We appreciate your honesty there.
Thanks.
All right. Looks like Edward Foreman has a question. Hello, Ed.
Hello, nice to meet you. Hope you're ever color but blue. I have a question for everyone. Are we ready for Keith Mayer's feature? Woo!
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I personally am ready.
I'm ready too. I can't wait.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate you bringing the excitement to the table. All right. Well, I think that's a good number of questions for tonight. We're going to get right into the reading. 5 open readers and then our featured reader, Keith, and then the rest of the open reading. Again, if you would like to sign up, send me a message in the chat. I think I've acknowledged everyone who's signed up so far, but there are some folks here who haven't signed up, and you're more than welcome to read if you would like to. On deck, our second reader will be Martin Parker. Please welcome our first reader, Richard Loringer. Hello, Richard.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to see everyone tonight. And my head is kind of full of static right now because I spent a couple weeks with computer problems and trying to get my Facebook page back, which is gone. It was hijacked and destroyed. And if anybody gets a Facebook friend request from me, that's actually from Richard Loringer -new after hack, which is now my screen name on there. It really is me, because I'm just saying. But so to get the static out, I'm not going to rant about politics or anything tonight. I'm going to read two very calm, nice pieces. Sometimes I write to music, like to instrumental music, but only live music. And ekphrastics or sonophrastic, I don't care what you call them. I just write while I'm listening to live music. So the first of the two pieces was written listening to a concerto that was being played on a solo pianist in a church, Steve Cosgrove, if anybody knows him. But anyway, and I think it was Chopin, but I neglected to write down which composer. So this was just written listening to live Chopin being played. Concerto. We come together, flecks of glass in a kaleidoscope, starlings in a murmuration, notes from a piano blown by the wind until they're nothing more than wind. We are wind. We are all wind, teeming over hills, whirled in a valley, settling to quiet air at the edge of a meadow full of bluets. Come over here and sit down a while, or don't. There's always grass to lie on somewhere, alone or with others, whatever others may be, with yourselves, with light and the unsettling dominance of mass, of flesh, of the dalliance of limbs beyond comfort, beyond necessary breath. I'm sure that you will follow your force, discover your poles, and drift heart first toward the magnolia bush you have seen, have dreamed, or trample forward through reeds and avenues till you light on a doorstep, a window, a hand in which you find family and a fecund face. At least, I hope that will be the case. That's called Concerto. It's written spontaneously. And the second one was written listening to an indie women's choir by the name of Kitka, K-I-T-K-A. Does anyone know this choir? They sing in all kinds of Eastern European languages, and it's like listening to heaven. I don't know how else to say it. If you could just Google Kitka, K-I-T-K-A. They were in the Chapel of the Chimes in Oakland. So I didn't know the language, so I'm imagining what their words mean. It's also kind of a mistranslation. It doesn't have a title. Oh, my brother, lay a soft caress upon the sea for us. Take a near voice to be. Oh, take a slow go. Say, sing, gleam, no. Say song the mother lays upon a madras throw. Go through the slow meadow of rush, ahead of heather be. Say low and know me. Go so I owe ye. Say my only, your only, our only day. Hail the only, I owe ye, I say you, I go, yea, no, my crippled bay, no, to see my stippled day, no, to see, drag the moment to the sea, nay, no more, nay, we each become a sun, nay, more, nay, we each become a blue sun. Yea, be the mama told a true son. Yea, be the mama sold a rude son. Some more, son will be another source of more of yet another sadly foggy day. Not to rue, but we can lay again today. Not to claim, but we can make a moon. Yea, shine to me, maroon. Belay the sun to rain and moon. Yea, need to shame the stun again. Salve, yes, the needy stone. Yea, just yes, bring the other rune. Yea, stray, but once again gone. Once again, you see me. Yes, no more to bear ye. Only bower keeps ahead on our madre in the shower of petals and bears her unto light and power. Just 20 women singing words I didn't know. It gives me goosebumps even thinking about it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
It's all about words we don't or do know tonight. One of the two. Richard, thank you so much for opening up the reading. Really strong start for us. Love the rhythm of all that second piece, especially. And sorry you're having Facebook foibles. I had that not too long ago, and I'm still dealing with getting it all back together. But you can get your original account back. If you want, you just need to do some particular things. Message me privately if you're interested in
I'll ask you. Yeah, I tried a whole bunch of directions I found and none of them worked, but happy to. I'll after sometime tomorrow.
Sounds good. All right, Richard, thank you so much. Round of applause for Richard Loringer. On deck, Cathabella and Siggy. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Nice to see everybody here. Looking forward to hearing Keith and everybody, including some people I've heard elsewhere, but not here before. So I thought I'd share a couple of other poems I've written very recently about my mother in preparation for going to her memorial service this weekend down in North Carolina on what would have been her 90th birthday. First one is called My Mother's Voice. My mother's voice is with me still. The messages she left were always short and to the point, but with subtle hints of motherly concern for my welfare and health. I tried to call her once a month these last few years as she declined, though seldom could she hear my voice, her hearing aids not helping at all. Yet still the emotions she found hard to reveal sustained me through each day. And then the second one is called Mother's Intuition. I still don't quite know how she knew when I was only in second grade that she should sign me up for a club that met once a week after school, where I would learn the first few words of French that set me on my quest to sound out the words of the world. She'd struggled with Latin in her high school class, but knew it helped her later in life, and saw in me a thirst to learn as many languages as I could absorb. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you so much, everyone.
As you should be, Martin. Thank you so much for joining in tonight, giving us some insights into you and your work. As always, round of applause for Martin Parker. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, sir.
On deck, Julian Matthews. Please welcome now Katha Bella Wilson and Siggy. Hello to both of you.
You could turn the sharing on. Yeah. Oh. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, Siggy, so we were writing together about getaway. So let's see where we want to get away to. I called it Getaway to Home.
The thrill of aiding migration butterfly release. I find the mile-high air, my challenge to this new home.
Siggy is in Denver. She's usually in Maine, so that's what that is about. And very well expressed, I think. Leaf butter cutter. Leaf cutter bee. Leaf cutter bee, the irregular pieces of my life that no longer fit fall gently into place. I like that, Rick. Siggy.
First week of school, annual vacation for escape, needing a breather. The kids stay with friends, enjoy their week of freedom.
Perfect musical illustration, my favorite. 5-minute getaway walk. Fresh air, front door, my open mind. Surprises rush in.
Eagle Island, arriving by mailboat. Bunkhouse rooms. Quiet getaway, no neighbors. Drop in, visitors, surprises.
Tentatively, I snap one little lemon twig in bloom. The scent that sent us on our getaway to call this home.
Turn the car, spotted field of seeds to gather. Milkweed in bloom. In a sunny window, an explosion in the dining room.
That's great, Ziggy. Hummingbirds at our balcony feeder. Before we leave, again and again, sipping the last drops. Let's see, get this out of the way. Where is it? Can you see that? Here we go. Okay, here we are, and here's Rick.
Hello. This is a Japanese traditional food called a hitoyoguri, which was in use hundreds of years before the shakuhachi.
And look at that purple wrapping.
That's not traditional.
No, but he chose it.
I never knew there was anything before the shakuhachi, so this is a revelation in flute knowledge for me tonight. Thank you, Rick, for that. I'm for occasional non-traditional purple, by the way. It's fine. Cathabella and Siggy, great job, as always. Lovely collaboration. You can see a lot of great comments. I think it really resonated with people. I also got very concerned and delighted by the phrase, an explosion in the dining room. I hope everything's okay.
What did
So-
I know?
Quite a lot, I believe. Thank you, Siggy. Thank you,
Purple.
Cathabella.
Probably
Thank
was
you.
purple.
Thank you, Rick. Round of applause for all of those folks. On deck, Denise Dumar. We've got two more readers, and then our featured reader, Keith Marr. So on deck is Denise Dumar. Please welcome now Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian.
Hi. Just sharing screen. Two short poems. She gathers broken things along the river that once held their dreams. Perhaps if they could be pieced together as art, it would be a kind of redemption for the things that were once whole, that never made it to their intended destination. Or maybe to make them sing again, Restore their souls, tell their glorious tales, sprung on glorious sails, the lands they traversed, the oceans they roamed, and to finally be seen, be held again, cherished in this warm new place called home. End poem. And the second one is called Imposter Syndrome. Are you a megaphone or a microphone? Or a washed up conch shell awaiting the random stranger to pick you up, hold you tight, listen in close to hear the soundtrack of your pelagic, saline wanderings as the Watley sun kisses the sky and sea goodbye, the tremolo of youthful laughter melding with waning waves. And in the distance, a mother beckoning a child to come back to the shaded picnic table for sasi and sambal sandwiches, and those old stories that tickle the wind chimes in your heart, echoing in that void your void, that muted hole in your unamplified soul. End poem. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. We're all trying to find something to put in our muted holes, as it were. Thank you for both of your poems tonight. Nice job, nice visuals. As always, glad to have you here. Round of applause for Julian Matthews. On deck is our featured reader, Keith Marr. Please welcome now Denise Dumar. Hello, Denise.
Hi, it's always, following Julian is always hard. That's a hard act to follow. This one I started on my birthday, which was February 18th, and that's why it's called Today's My Birthday and Leonard Peltier is Free. But I didn't finish it on my birthday, so I'm reading it tonight. Today is my birthday, and Leonard Peltier is free. Never thought I'd ever get to say that. Having students read his writings, never knowing if he'd even survive one more year. But freeing Leonard Peltier is the best gift I could get if I have to be this old, and I guess I have to. Still, Leonard Peltier is free today, and that's one small bit of happiness. Not happiness like, oh, I won the lottery, but happiness like there's one small bit of justice in the world today. And I'll take that as it's offered. Put it in a champagne flute and drink it down. Leonard Peltier is free today, and it's my birthday. This one's short. Soft crush of darkness. Soft crush of darkness, the cloudy buffer of the sky. Too cold to be the center of the universe, but not too cold to break a heart. What if everything is falling? Like stunt doubles off the roof, real but not real, until somebody really gets hurt. The air is muffled, the rain has brought a sparkle to the dullness of it all. I'm wrapped in the fear of stasis. Immobility seems preferable to falling, even if the darkness and the clouds can soften the blow. Thank you. And now I got to go see what that alarm is.
Well, I hope it's nothing too alarming, Denise. There she goes. I'll have to check the alarm. Thanks to Zoom muting background noises, we didn't even know anything alarming was happening. But Denise, glad you were here. I hope you rewind this, or maybe you have the ability to just rewind time and you can come back and see what it is that I'm saying. But I appreciate that you were here and that hope everything's okay over there. A round of applause for Denise Dumar. All right, on deck after our featured reader will be Gloria Durgee. So there you go. That leads us now to our featured reader, Keith Marr. Keith, I'm so excited that we are able to have you back this week. We attempted to have Keith as our featured reader a few months ago, and there were some technical problems and it didn't work out, and it was disappointing because it wasn't too long that night wasn't too long after Keith had been a part of our open reading and really kind of blew us all away with the one poem that he read. I think we were all just kind of floored by your presence that night, Keith. So really glad that we were able to find a time to have you back. Just some reminders in case you didn't take notes the first time I went through Keith's bio a few months ago. Keith is a Chinese-American spoken word poet, a psychotherapist and professor who uses poetry to ask questions about race, identity, self-love, and social justice. He has used his poetry and personal stories to enhance the cultural sensitivity of his graduate students. And I feel like when we saw your read here in this space, that we really just got a strong sense of all the things that you mentioned there in terms of questioning and making us think about things that we need to think about. You've done all kinds of things. I want to mention this one thing that you also co-host a monthly virtual open mic called Yellow, centered on Asian voices, which is awesome. Keith, I'm really happy to have you back tonight. Hoping we can hear your voice when I say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our featured reader, Keith Marr.
Hello. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow. All right. Wonderful. First of all, I want to thank you so much, Rick, for re-inviting me. And thank you so much for holding this wonderful, lighthearted space for poetry and banter. This is one of the top, if we're looking at, the top open mics for banter, I think this takes the cake. So I'm reminded of how much fun it is to be here. Thank you, Cobalt readers who requested I be a feature. I'm really, truly honored to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me. And thanks to everyone here, you know who you are, that showed up for me. And I have to shout out my cousin, Ben, who never comes to poetry. And just a lot of familiar, friendly faces that makes me feel very welcome. So I'm excited about, oh my God, Adrian Guerrero is here.
Oh, shoot.
Voices from the past. All right. I will be honest with you. This next poem is the most difficult piece I've ever written, and I avoided it for years because of the shame that I would have to face in writing about my mother. So I want to acknowledge Mark States, who gave me the key to writing this piece. So this is called, appropriately enough, I don't want to write a poem about my mother. I don't want to write a poem about my mother, because then I would have to tell you that my mother would say she wished she were dead when she was upset. The 4-year-old me was afraid she might kill herself and take us with her, poisoning our food. I would eat very slowly, relieved to be alive when we finished. I don't want to write a poem about my mother, because then I would have to tell you I don't remember ever being held by my Chinese mother. I don't want to tell you that, because then I'd have to tell you that when I went to the barber's, I felt a thrill, a soothing comfort when the barber ran his comb through my hair. I thought I was weird or sick when my body was merely starving for the comfort of a mother's touch, like one of Harlow's monkeys. It's sad that the only time I felt the comfort of human touch was at the barber's. I don't want to write a poem about my mother, because then I would have to tell you. She would tell me terrible things about my father, her many hurts and disappointments at his hands, even his poor taste. She could not imagine how anyone could like Frank Sinatra, mustard, or pickles. I was her therapist, untrained and unsupervised, and I vowed I would never let her down like my dad, and never ever like mustard, Sinatra, or pickles. I don't want to write a poem about my mother because I don't want to tell you, although we had a piano in our house for over 40 years, I never heard her play it once. I wondered if she played it when the house was empty, when she was safe from unwanted judgment, because Mom was painfully self-conscious. Once, when she was asked to show her ID while we were buying groceries, with resignation and a sigh, she showed her ID, but my poor mother kept her thumb on her picture. I remember the clerk saying, "Ma'am, you have to take your thumb off your picture so I can see it." It was a moment imbued with her shame and mine. I wondered if my mother had listened to America whisper in her ear that yellow bodies were not beautiful. I've also come to wonder if maybe the piano keys felt abandoned and neglected, yearning to be touched, as abandoned and neglected as my brothers and I felt. I don't want to tell you, I never cried for my mother when she passed. I feared I must be a bad son. Now I realize the tears I haven't shed are still there within me, waiting for the opening of my heart. Thank you for listening.
Keith, are you doing more work?
Yeah, I was, sorry, Rick. Yeah, I was looking for my next piece and I'm technically a klutz. Okay, so here's the next one. This one is called Bursting. I am about to burst. I am drums beating in my chest. I am an unquenchable thirst. I am a blood vessel about to burst. I am an untold story in free verse. I am too many stories for one poem. Is a poem if it isn't spoken? Is a path if it isn't taken? Is bond still bond if his martini stirred, not shaken? I am the voice my mother and father never had, speaking the language of bold. I ache with the language of I am here. I am the vow that refuses to be silent about the things that really matter. I am bursting with story. I am from the poor, tough, trying to get by, but don't give up on your dreams. Hard scrabble, west side of Fresno. I am Chinatown, where the winos on E Street sit lined against a wall like rows of birds of prey on a telephone wire. An alcohol-smelling gauntlet calling out to the 5-year-old me, "Hey, Sonny, you got any change?" I am white suburbs where we moved in the 3rd grade. I hid the Chinatown in me. I told the kids I didn't know how to use chopsticks. In the suburbs, shame spread through my veins like an infectious disease. My throat under the Gestapo boots of every kid, goose-stepping in the Ching Chong Chinaman parade, grinding a heel print, a black and blue bruise of self-hate. I am Chinese and Catholic. I am bursting with guilt. I am a duet in search of my missing half. I am phantom limb syndrome. I feel pain in the self I lost when I learned not to cry. When I said poetry, that's for sissies. When I banished my shiny patent leather dancing shoes. When I was afraid most of the time, I wasn't man enough, even though I was still a little boy. I am the wounded child inside the man. Adulthood is an addition to childhood. It's not a substitute. I am arms that embrace you. I am a hand to hold. I am eyes that see the poetry in you. I am ears you can whisper into. I am bursting into view with the untold stories of my culture. I am a glimmering, glistening mirror, a gift for the emaciated boy with swollen belly, starving to glimpse his own reflection. I am bursting with pride. I am the yellow mamba. I am Jeet Kune Flo. I am Enter the Poet. I am kicks of fury up David Carradine's ass. I am a dance in search of a beat. I am sexy, sassy, sashaying, breathtaking, earth-shaking, law-breaking, bringing home the bacon, quaking and shaking, sexy Asian hips. That's right, I said sexy Asian hips. I am laying claim to my space. I'm declaring the beauty of my golden amber honey butter skin. I am hope rising. And maybe, just maybe, there's a part of me in you and a part of you in me, just bursting at the seams with a story to tell. But as for me, without a doubt, my brothers and sisters, I am absolutely, positively, unequivocally about to burst. Thank you, everyone. Wow. Well, good. I'm glad that it resonates with people. This one is called Ache for Home. Ache for Home. Maya Angelou writes, "The ache for home lives in all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. For me, to be Asian and male in America means that the ache for home, for a safe place where I am not questioned as I am, that ache is bone deep. I have been desperately searching for home and my rightful place my whole life. I long for a balm to soothe this ache. The salve in my salvation lies in facing what is mine to face. I testify to heal the wounded male in me, to find the loving voice that whispers, my beautiful Asian boy, the shame you feel has never been yours to keep. You see, trauma is not just what happened to you that shouldn't have happened. It's also what should have been said or done that wasn't. So this is for all the beautiful Asian boys raised on American movies and TV. Believing a sidekick was the best they could ever be. This is for all the beautiful golden boys never seeing someone with their face possessing any romantic capacity. My Asian brothers and I have been robbed of what makes all of us human, our ability to love and be loved, our core humanity. Racial castration, structural emasculation are soul-crushing injuries. This is for the golden boys who are made to hate their eyes, looks, and bodies. This is for the boys who are told manhood is measured by height and sexual prowess, by how much he can hide his fear and hurt, his refusal to ask for help, how much he can take it like a man. Bell Hooks said, the first act of violence that patriarchy demands of males is not violence toward women, but the killing off of the tender parts of themselves by how much alcohol he can consume. So disabling when you've inherited the gene for the Asian glow. There's no rest facing a daily Eurocentric standardized test when we aren't given standardized lives. Being Asian and male means you can feel so undesirable that when a girl asks you to the high school dance, you don't believe she's serious, and sadly, you don't accept her offer. It means when you ask your white friend if she's serious, and he says, Keith, come on, you're a little Chinese guy. She just wants to be friends. The original sidekick relationship. It means the math teacher at my new high school is positive I am a math whiz and forces me to give up lunch hour after lunch hour to take test after test. I buckled under the pressure and I didn't do well. I was ashamed to look at her for the rest of the year. You see, you can be ashamed when you don't live up to someone else's stereotype of you. It means you can be pulled over by the local police in your small conservative California Central Valley town and ban you from a public restaurant you just left. Rage and impotence are a scream lodged in your throat. You return again and again till your arrest for a DWA, dining while Asian. It means being ashamed to see someone that looks like you. Once I saw an Asian in a well-known rock group on TV. He reminded me of someone I despised, myself. Imagining others would despise him too, I mocked him to beat others to the punch. Being Asian and male means many men I meet of all races for the first time on the basketball court, a friend of my son's, in my office, tell me, hey, I'm really into Asian girls, as if it's a compliment. It means a complete white stranger may cast a colonial gaze upon your daughter and assume he can walk up to you, tell you your daughter is beautiful, and ask for a high five. I say, fuck off, Mr. Rice Chaser. Would Mr. Complete Stranger ask a non-Asian father for a high five? I light a candle for the little boy whose trauma lives in an alley on the west side of Fresno, who waits for me to bring him home. The alley where his cousins would steal pomegranates from Big Hat Pete's tree. The alley where Michael would pick his victims like my cousins picked fruit, choosing the freshest and the ripest ones. I was ripe for the picking. The bleach of dissociation could not wash away my self-hate, because a real man is never a victim. In California, it was illegal for a Chinese face like mine to be seen after dark. So the Chinese built tunnels under the streets to travel at night. I built tunnels in my heart where my song went underground to survive. Now I celebrate my song. My song beats with the rhythm of Guangdong, the land where the mountains meet the sea. Let us celebrate all our songs. Let us celebrate a masculinity based on the courage to truly be ourselves, to ask for what we need and want, not based on putting others down, but on lifting others up. Let us celebrate in the places where we dream. I want you to know. I want you to know. Weak is not my name. Sidekick is not my name. Afterthought is not my name. Punchline is not my name. My name is hope. My name is courage. My name is love. Thank you for listening.
Keith, that was phenomenal. That was inspiring. It was personal. I really liked it a lot. And I know a lot of people did too. You can see a flood of messages that have happened since you started reading and that are still coming in right now in the chat. Having written a lot of poems about my mother, who was really difficult, I also enjoyed the piece that you opened with. I'm admiring from afar your sexy Asian hips. And yeah, I just dug the whole thing, and it reminds me of how I felt when you first read here a few months ago in the open. I'm so glad that this worked, that despite the technical challenges that you overcame, and here you are, and it happened. So thank you so much for that. Really wonderful. I'm going to paste some stuff in the chat and show the broadside that I made for your poem. So there you go, is the stuff in the chat, and let me share the broadside that I made. Here it is. You can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website. I don't even know if you remember sending me this poem because it was so long ago that we originally prepared for this reading, but there it is. You can download this poem from Keith on the Cobalt Poets website, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. And it's an 11 by 17 print. You can have, you can look at, you can print out if you'd like. And I hope that you'll consider tipping Keith for his reading. Keith gave me his PayPal ID quite some time ago. I hope it's still good. So you can contribute to the virtual passing of the hat by sending Keith some tip at PayPal. And finally, you can keep up with Keith on Instagram at instagram.com/enterthepoet. Keith, again, great job tonight. Very much appreciated having you here, and thank you so much for being here and inspiring so many people to come as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And I appreciate the comments about the banter You've inspired me to decide that next week it's going to be all banter, no poems. We're just going to banter the whole time and see what happens. Maybe not. We'll see.
I like it.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I like the idea.
Oh, good. Very
Yeah.
good. Well, then it's settled. All banter and our featured reader. Another round of applause for our featured reader, Keith Marr. Thank you so much, Keith. Great job. Before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading, I will let everyone know that next week's featured reader will be Jacqueline Ellen Trimble. More on her as the week progresses. If you're new here, please get on our email list or head to the Cobalt Poets website, and you'll get the flyer for the weekly reading as they're published, and you won't miss it. All right, moving on to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have on the list in this order. If anyone else is here who would like to read, please send me a message in the chat, and I will be happy to add you. But here's who is signed up: Gloria Durgi, Antonietta Villamil, Ike Waltz, Christopher Bogart, Carrie Cox, Scott Norman Rosenthal, Ken Scott, Jennifer Wang, Lance Dean, Michael G. Hickey, Walker Valdez, Heidi Casa, Dig Wayne, and me. And I see Yam Sham Shackleton has been added, so I got you in, Jan. So there you go. That's how easy it is. You just tell me you want to read and you're in. And as a reminder, it's 2 poems maximum, and less is more is the time limit, the suggested time limit. On deck is Antonietta Villamil. Please welcome now Gloria Durgi. Hello, Gloria.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to just say this to Keith, that in Rome, they were to call their poets singers of songs. So I personally want to thank you for the music from your heart tonight. I have 2 to read. The first one is called Future Dare. Time to dance and drink. I no longer care if there's a future there. Don't know, I play the dare. Malika, my angel, needs to help me now. I want tools to keep me from a scowl. Skim through life somehow. Can there be any path easier than this to move about the earth in search of a kiss? I feel baby naked running down the street, embarrassed for lacking shoes, having big white feet. To tell the truth, I have no money to participate in life. Do you hear me, honey? I stumble along the cobblestone streets, memorizing friendly faces I meet. I want to fly like free birds, but don't have the price. I cry, I shout, I strike my breast thrice. I run from fear, I stop to smell a rose. I breathe in the scent and a bee bites me on my nose. Am I that sweet? Is any profile saccharine? Will I meet and melt in the rain as I try to win? Imagination is my sugar tit to nourish myself, and I nibble at it. I'm not made of stone. Strength is not limitless. My big feet plod on to a future I won't miss. End poem. And the second is a short one from recent experience called Reverie. Wham! I am on the floor again. Door, carpet, shoe, momentum, sharp streak of negative energy shoots up my side. No, not now. The sleek swan slide of youthful dance, light and airy, feathered fairy. Winged arms opening and closing in musical signature, gentle jump and quick flight. No, I am an elder reaching out to airy nothing. Broken bone, broken bag, glasses with missing stem. In sight, out of reach, alone. How do I get back? Thank you.
Gloria, thank you. Comforting having you here in this space. Nice to have you. Nice new camera, by the way. You look fantastic.
Thank you. New computers are marvelous.
They are. enjoy it until next week when it becomes old. Round of applause for Gloria. Yes. Round of applause for Gloria Durgi. On deck, Ike Waltz. Please welcome now Antonietta Villamil. Hello, Antonietta.
Hello, everybody. I have one poem. It has the cantoleo that it's a signature of my style. I composed a little song at the beginning and at the end. The title is the title of my forthcoming book, The Empire for One Poem, paraphrasing William Shakespeare. Pájaro de vida, colibrí de agua, somos de memoria, hechos de futuro, pájaro agorero, colibrí de luz, somos una idea que no morirá. Bird of life, hummingbird of water, we are of memory, made of future, foretelling bird, hummingbird of light. We are an idea that will never die. Little woman of the third world, let them say it. Let them say that I'm a vagabond Malinche because I took off north with all my disenchantment, my courage, and my hunger of little woman of the third world. Let them say it. I don't care. But let them say that with a purpose I left with all my irreverence and my outrage to build the time for the poem. Say that I bring in my side the eye of the hurricane, and under my fingernails the earth I could not dig for my dead. That I bring in the hungry edge of my tongue a yes, we can, and a red cry to victory in the center of the heart. And that this army of dispossessed workers that accompanies me transforms the empire with the power of the number. We are plenty and we are not going to kill them because they are part of us. Every day we inoculate them with our presence and we become countless snake charmers, necessary parasites of parasites that lend the body to the empire as they do to the florid wasteland to make love to life. That here I am acting like a gringa with all my reluctance living from rent in the belly of the monster. That day by day I inoculate my poison. I build the time to the great poem of the fall. For the memory of my death, of my disappeared women from the third world, that immigrants and full of hunger, we left thirst hanging in the deserts of Texas, California, New Mexico, and Arizona. That for their abuse, I am of the fly, the larva of little woman from the third world in the belly of the fat empire. That I am here, returning to them their decadence. Yes, let them know it. I am the virus undermining its column of frigid eyes. And when the expected day arrives, I will deliver this banking empire for only one poem. Colibrí de vida, pájaro de vida, aunque nos maten, no nos callarán. Pájaro presente con la madre tierra, dame tu poder de reevolución. Hummingbird of life, bird of day, even if they kill us, we won't be silent. Present birth with Mother Earth. Give me your power of revolution.
Thank you so much, Antonietta. Interesting to hear about your process of always composing a song with a poem. That's really cool. I know we've heard you sing before here, before and after poems, but I don't think you've specified what it is that you've been doing mindfully and purposefully. So really cool to hear that, and nice to see you again after all this time.
Thank you. Thank you. I wrote that, by the way, I wrote that poem in 2011. So it's not a new poem. I wrote it in Spanish and then I did the translation into English, but it's a poem that I presented in the International San Francisco Poetry Festival in 2011. So it's very important for me. Thank you.
A Cobalt debut nonetheless. So there you go. Poems don't have to die after the first time you read them. So thanks for bringing that one back.
Published.
Well, okay.
Still
There's still time. Antonietta, thank you so much. Round of applause for Antonietta Villamil. Christopher Bogart, you're on deck. Please welcome now Ike Waltz. Hello, Ike.
Thank you, Keith. Yes, sexy hips are rare. And who was effing Spartacus? I'm that slave of my time. A brutal gladiator, facilitator who frees us all. And just in case my soul is Hollywood's fake firestorm. Roman or other, my heart is righteous torch. My body is burning in hell. My golden thoughts trumps the everywhere. But I'm not your slave. Can't you tell? Yes, yesteryear ended in the loss of you. Hope long bypassed, replaced by the aggressive motion of the flame throwing absurd. Mine is a monster on fire, burning, slow roasting, nightly posting, young body understatement, old mind nobody wants to hire, knowing all of the better, with nothing to excite, nothing to say. No, nothing, no more. I don't pray. Secretly, I stopped listening to my aphid heart. We forgot to be a myself falling apart. That myself that once upon a time, that myself I never understood. My name was not only an unpopular song, but a racist, contaminated tragedy that defined who we became, who I am, who is Spartacus in decline. Hollywood, you see, is subsetting me. Yes, that only one which keeps clinging to me like the smell of stinking fish. I had sweet choices. Instead, in memory I dish, where the comforting movie houses wasted my time. I escaped to be that rebel, a voyeur. I watched myself in the mirror and how I grew, how we made love on the white screen, masturbating though. I live tactile imagery since this time over and over again, cradled in secretive darkness. Listen, it's just fine. absorbed in a moon cow's surround, regurgitating popcorn, slurping frozen coke, crunching ice cubes, biting fingernails. I hear that wide open mouth where Botox sex can't tame that annoying sound surround. La La Land had no plan for me. Nothing worked out like that. My future, always a permanent gamble, always an engineered surprise. Now that I fight that last power pill of my imaginary life. However sweet or bitter, I swallow my blooded pride. I am my only forever discombobulated blue-eyed child. I'm my daily replay of history. Yes, only my eyes have survived. In a bowl we see that slow running shit all. And shit all, it's but nothing. I say it loudly, but nobody listens. I roar it into your face. Nobody is listening. The road in my neighborhood has no beginning, no end. It takes only one turn, and I walk over myself again, forever again. Come on, come on. Can't you imagine what I'm going to say? Oh, I fuck you all and me. Then I was never a company man. I have never worked for anyone. I worked with you if I felt like it. I felt free in obscenity. And then the system sold me behind my back without even asking. I was handed over like a financial stock, and here it fakes and fucking Spartacus lullabies the past on his darkened zoom squared eye, cold and alone, and the time keeps clock ticks, tick tock, tick tock. In a blindly spotlight appears the imperfection of a naked man. Spartacus, the gladiator, makes his sacrifice. What bare bulging muscular desire pleased is the caged chocolate munching audience. Rousing perfume can't wipe sweet sticky pain, can't mop the echo of the imagined rain. But Spartacus can jump. Oh yes, Spartacus can jump. Okay, tour de force. Down Liz air. And excitement whistles in da capo, unison, excellent, grown human material, imagination, if I hear everywhere. A freak show is the air. All looks legit, but nothing is even a bit. It's butterflies' life and death disintegrated into ash. Beware. Yes, it's all about, and if you had been there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ike. You made us feel like we were there. And incidentally, you're hired in reference to something you said earlier about not being someone wanted to hire. You're hired. It's official. Everyone, please send money to Ike for his pay. Round of applause for Ike Waltz. Thank you so much, Ike, for being here. On deck, Carrie Cox. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hi. What I'm going to do is read one poem, but I'm going to preface it, and I want to use the share screen. About 2 or 3 years ago, I published a book of poetry called This Conversation, and each of the poems in it, I have had other poets read, not only from the United States, but 2 of them from Africa. And it's the book itself is about race in America. And so what I would like to do is show you one of those readings. By the way, when all of this gets put together, I'm going to give it free to schools to use as discussion points for race. All right. Let me see if I can do this now. Can you see that? I'm hoping. murder of George Perry Floyd at the hands of the Minneapolis police on May 25th, 2020, produced a wave of demonstrations in every major city and town in America, and throughout the majority of the countries of the world as well. In all of these demonstrations, under the banner of Black Lives Matter, an equal number of white, Asian, Latinx, and Native Americans marched arm in arm and in solidarity with their African American brothers and sisters. Racism was no longer just an African American problem. It had become an American problem. At the beginning of June 2020, I was determined to address the problem of racism in America in the only way I knew how. In his book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, Emmanuel Acho, former linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, encouraged white people to speak to each other, to have this very important conversation about the treatment of their Black brothers and sisters. If your goal is to fight racism, he said, and to help foster an America that isn't built on white privilege, then you'll have to do your part. After reading his words, I decided to write a book of poetry that would have this conversation, as Emmanuel Acho suggested, to do my part. And so I wrote this conversation.
A sonnet in honor of Emmett Till. Nicholas Hayward was shot and killed while playing cops and robbers. We're only playing were his last words. Cops just couldn't be bothered. Dwayne Carrington held down when a cop's gun accidentally went off. Even though P. Wayne had done no wrong, another Black life was lost. Ayanna Jones was in her bed when shot and died instantly. The cops barged in, their guns ablaze. It was being filmed for TV. Trayvon Martin, armed with Skittles and an Arizona iced tea, gunned down by a neighborhood volunteer, tried, and then set free. Cameron Tillman played in a house with the owner's permission. It took Cameron 15 minutes to die. He was offered no assistance. Tamir Rice was shot by a cop while playing in Cleveland Park. Tamir had a toy. Then the cop, he didn't care. He fired before the car even stopped. Tyree King was 5 feet tall and weighed less than 100 pounds. Police mistook him for a robber, peppered his body with rounds. Jordan Edwards was leaving a party when he was savagely gunned down. He sat in his car. He was shot in the head. No believable reason was found. Stephon Clark was shot in the dark 6 times in his back alone. Police said he was holding a gun. All they found was his phone. Back by an off-duty cop on the scene. She shot, said it was self-defense. But the flag wasn't hers. It was Jean's. Deonta Farrell raised his hand, but the cop shot off half a clip. They said they thought they saw a gun. He had a bag of chips. Elijah McClain was walking home when a cop snuffed his life with a knee. I'm just different. That's all. That's all, he pleaded. I'm just different. His last words were, forgive me. Aubrey was jogging in a white suburb as 2 men drove up in a car. They shot him 3 times in his hands and chest. He didn't jog very far. Casey Goodman was shot in the back, entering his grandmother's house. All he carried was a Subway sandwich, no gun, no Skittles, no phone. In the summer of 1955, they lynched 14-year-old Emmett Till. And even though it was many years ago, just won't be still.
All right, Christopher, thank you so much for that presentation and for all the good work that you continue to do. Good to have you here, and appreciate you bringing that material to us. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. On deck is Scott Norman Rosenthal. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, Cobalt. How's everyone? I know that we've had some heavy poems. Mine are a little playful tonight, so we'll just change the mood up a little bit. I took a little writing workshop on Zoom, and it was about adding folklore into your poetry. And so one of the prompts was to write about our favorite proverb. And when one of my kids was little, he came home with a book, and my favorite proverb of all time is an African proverb, and it's the first line of this poem. It's hard to be a goat in a cow town, a peasant in the castle, hard to be clumsy in a family of ballerinas, and hard to hate cheese when you're a mouse. It's hard to be a nomad in a family of carpenters, an ant who wants to live on its own. It's hard to wear skin in a town of tin men, walk around where everyone drives, march to the beat of a different drum, be a truth teller in a chorus of lies. Hard to move slow in a rat race, even harder to come in last. It's hard to love your body when everyone hates their own. Hard to feel good being sheltered, looking out at those unhomed. Hard to be a cactus when all it does is rain. Hard to call yourself Abel when everyone's calling you Cain. Hard to be sober when the world is laughing, drunk and high. Hard to stand in one place while the world keeps passing you by. Hard to be anything but what you are in the place you're meant to be. You be a cow, I'll be a goat, and we'll live in harmony. My other poem was about taking a fairy tale and just rewriting it. So my working title is The Mid-Sized Mermaid. Do I not delve for you like a dream fisher, my legs tangling in weeds I wasn't meant for, but gave up all I had to try to sink you into my spell of watery vision? With my hooded eyes, I see for miles and could escape each danger but your smile. I offered you the customary 3 wishes, hoping for a magical mind, but you wanted the usual tinsel-lined soul and titanium spine with no regard to mine. We kissed at midnight 7 times, and in the morning the kingdom still wasn't mine. My heart was mute, my faith was blind, so I tried one last time and took the final wish as mine, threw myself a hook and line and floated home to that underwater, feathery gilled, long-tailed home of mine.
Thank you so much, Carrie. I'll say this, just quoting folk singer Fred Small regarding the cow and the goat. It takes a lot of courage to date outside your species. So there you go. Fun poems. Thanks for changing the mood up for us, giving us a taste, a little something different, fun. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone.
Round of applause for Carrie Cox. On deck is Ken Scott. Please welcome now Scott Norman Rosenthal. Hello, Scott.
Swallowing a capsule. I have two tonight. First is recent and very brief. It's called Blindness Within. Blazing from the east, blinds the young, bewilders the old. The bulk of the orange-haired ogre shelters the children. And the second, since there has been seems to be a theme of Asian culture, I was once on Facebook. People were talking about cultural appropriation, and it was actually a group about Jewish ritual music, or ritual magic. And I was put out of the group for insisting that the ancient five-phase Chinese medicine is biologically valid, which it is, or I wouldn't be here, annoying nice people. This is verses in Chinese style for our friends at the Poetry Festival, autumn 1990. The songs we sing are history. The stories we tell are history. The walls we build are history. The land, the sky will swallow them. What strange fruit blossoms in time? Some when long-haired antelope will graze the streets of seaport towns. Hard mist is everywhere. Let us spin wheels through prairies into mountains. You and I. We wrestle with demons, struggle with angels, alter the trueness of their names. Lightning, time, rain. In the cities, Luciferian chanting. Thank you.
Scott, thank you. Good to hear your work. Sorry to hear you were banned from a place. I'm for communities that are welcoming, as long as you're, in there with good intentions and doing what's asked of you. So there you go. Scott, thanks so much for being here. Round of applause for Scott Norman Rosenthal. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome now Ken Scott. Hi, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to do just two pieces. The first piece that I'm going to do is a poem about how capitalism affects your freedom or lack thereof. This piece is called By Proxy. You are never free. If your food, clothing, and shelter have price tags, then so do you. The amount of money required to keep you alive is the cost of your head. And every time you pay for any vital resource, you are being bought and sold by this world system. And you are thus affirming your enslavement to it. There are few things more profoundly corrupt than putting a carnal value upon a divine being. And the monetization of the human soul is the path of darkness. So long as the things required to keep you alive have price tags, then so will you. And as such, you will never be free. End piece. The next piece is a more spiritual esoteric piece, and it is called The One Who Truly Speaks. And it also invokes the Hermetic principle of gender for those who might not be familiar. If you want real answers, do not pose the question to someone who can only answer with mere words. Seek the one whose answers consist of visions, ideas, causative actions, and existential fruits. Seek the one whose answers consist of living manifestations. Even in the supernatural, actions speak louder than words. And the one who speaks new realities in answer to your questions is the one who truly speaks. Your womb, who is pregnant with your seed, is the one who truly speaks. Your inner mind, the infinitesimal infinite, is the one who truly speaks. A new reality is a picture worth more than 1,000,000,000 words. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Wow, 1,000,000,000. That's a lot of words. Most of them are probably prepositions, though, so I think you're right there in that last comment. You never know what you're going to get when Ken Scott comes on, but it's so appreciate the variety of things you bring us, Ken. Thank you for being here. Round of applause for Ken Scott. On deck, Lance Dean. Please welcome Jennifer Elise Wang. Hi, Jennifer.
Great. Hey, everyone. So I've got two. The first is in honor of today. It's the 14th anniversary of the Great Tohoku earthquake in Japan. And I lived in that area a year before the earthquake, so I knew a lot of people involved and wrote this as I was kind of witnessing everything from afar. This is Quake. The first tremor is less than 140 words. It's more a slight bobble, really. I blink and prepare to move on to another more relevant topic. I blink again, and the updates begin to flood. I make connections, link pieces of information until the flutter in my chest turns into tachycardia. And it doesn't matter that I'm thousands of miles away, that I left this life behind, because this is real. I'm desperately hanging on to friendships that were threatening to become memories because I don't want my friends to become nothing but memories. My body shakes as I try not to scream at others, "How can you go on with life?" But they only saw a tiny flutter of butterflies that barely brushed against them, whereas I see departing souls and feel the maelstrom of emotions. Survivor's guilt, some would call this, but I didn't survive anything. I ran when things were calm, shameful coward that I am. There I go thinking about myself again, when I should be thinking about others. It's not just about me or even friends who I'm still waiting to hear from. It's about the spider's thread that connects strangers from all corners of the world together. And that's what I hang on to as more 140-word flashes from a past life that is now my present appear before bloodshot eyes, and I brace myself against the foreboding tide. And my second piece, Keith kind of was making me think about basically growing up Asian American and the difficult relationship I have with Taiwan as a country I can and cannot relate to. And as a kid, also kind of hiding the customs and the traditions. But then as an adult, revisiting that. Keith, sorry. And so I wrote this kind of about when I would have friends that would either say that my room smelled funny or a friend said that my room smelled like Taiwan. And this poem is about that room smell. A friend once told me my bedroom smelled like Taiwan. I didn't know how to take that. And in remembering what someone else had said about my room smell, I thought of forced family trips where I was soaking in humidity instead of a pool surrounded by peers. Streets so crowded that I didn't want to inhale, especially with the threat of stinky tofu and incense. Loud chatter outside and indoors, gibberish to my ears, but my anxious mind said it was about me and how I didn't belong. Outside my bedroom, though, among peers who left me at the end of the long cafeteria table and never invited me to their pool, I started longing for a place that sparkles with lights from the night market, where the food never stops appearing in front of the seat pulled out for me by people who were strangers yet familiar. I realized that what my friend meant about my bedroom in Taiwan was that it too smelled like home.
Nice work, Jennifer. You're giving me the idea that we should suggest to Zoom that they offer smell-o-vision in addition to chat and video and reactions. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to smell the room of the person who is reading. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think it
sounds
smells like
your
cats
room's
now in my room. So
it smells like cats
probably
now?
different.
Well, that's okay. I would be for cat smells as well. I give cat smells a lot of leeway. Jennifer, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang. On deck, Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome now Lance Dean.
Hey Rick, how you doing? Haven't been able to write for a while. I lost my eyesight, past the ability to read or write, and then I had a fire while I was blind and lost my computers and that ability to write and the physical space that I wrote. But I've got new lenses now, and I've got a science fiction poem, a haiku, actually. AI, now aware, consciousness, now transcendent. Show the stars. D's nuts. My daughter really dug that. And here's another haiku. There once was a man. He was from Nantucket, and he has a bucket. There you go. There's my two pieces. Thank you.
Epic, Lance. Thank you so much. Welcome back. I'm sorry I went through some stuff, and I'm glad you're with us today. Being able to see and bring us fine work like that, it just makes it all worthwhile. So hope things keep getting better and easier for you, and thanks so much for being here tonight. Round of applause for Lance Dean. On deck, Walker Valdez. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hi, Michael.
As soon as he said Nantucket, everything got really still in here. I could tell. Okay, I'm just doing one piece. On July 4th, 2024, this was on NPR. Quote, "To save the imperiled spotted owl from potential extinction, the U.S. wildlife officials are embracing a contentious plan to deploy trained shooters into dense West Coast forests to kill 500,000 barred owls that are crowding out their cousins." So that was on NPR News on July 4th last summer, and they're going to kill 500,000 barred owls in the state of Washington alone because they're crowding out the spotted owl. Fast forward to this coming Sunday, I perform with a local theater group, and the house band's name is the Barred Owls, but they are B-A-R-D. The real Barred Owl is B-A-R-R-E-D. So anyway, I wrote this song, and I'm going to be singing it for the first time this Sunday, and I sing really poorly. All I'm singing is the chorus behind the real singer. This professional musician is doing it. Okay, it's called "Please Save the Barred Owl." I'm going to read 3 verses, and I'll kind of sing the chorus. You may not have even known that we needed saving, but that is exactly what my parliament is craving. The government will eliminate us, each and every one, which sounds quite mean-spirited and not a lot of fun. If they want to save our cousins, that is so way cool, but please not at our expense. Don't let them play the fool. There is no reason why we can't save our species too. No barred owl wants to die or end up in the zoo. There really is no valid reason for us all to perish. A wise owl is a creature that we should truly cherish. They want to send us to our ultimate extinction, which seems so very curious considering our distinction. And here's the part where I get to sing. An owl for an owl, a truth for a truth. If you decide to save us, our hoot was just for you. So please, dear friends, I have to say, this is now your cue to save the spotted owl, but damn it, save the barred owl too. No mas.
Michael, you have a lovely singing voice. Don't let anyone tell you anything other than that. So keep using that voice, and well done. Thanks for being here
I
tonight.
look at Antoinette, I look at Ken Scott, people actually know how to sing, and I'm like, oh God, what am I doing here?
That's a barbershop trio I'd like to see. You guys put something together and get back to me, please, as soon as possible.
Thanks, Rick.
Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. Thank you, Michael. On deck is Heidi Casa. Please welcome now Walker Valdez. Hi, Walker.
All right. Hey, I'm glad to be here. So I have a one piece for you. All right. Give me one second. All right. This one's called School Lunch. In the third grade, I was one of 5 non-white kids in class. Honestly, I can barely remember my teacher's name, but I do remember the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches my mom made me for lunch. This was a necessity. To me, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were the recipe or a key to assimilation, a golden ticket to acceptance, the American dream cut in triangle slices with no crust. My way of eating something American without being made fun of for being different, without being made fun of for being an immigrant. Didn't always love cafeteria food. Unseasoned food splattered on a tray made me nauseous. And what the hell is a sloppy Joe? I cautiously used to sit around the table while kids treated their lunch like Pokemon cards, using them as currency for something better, while kids asked what you eat for dinner last night, hoping they would never get to me, while wondering what they would have thought of that de lengua I ate the night before, curious if they would have asked if the cow's fiery tongue licks your face while you eat it. But my favorite was carne asada con arroz, marinated steak resting on a bed of rice while being caressed by onions and tomatoes, wondering if they knew that I actually loved being Bolivian but was afraid to show it. As I got older, who knew school lunch would come up again? That is until my daughter turned 8 and my wife wanted her to take leftovers. I said she doesn't want to take chicken and rice. Kids want ham and cheese, Capri Suns, chips, and chocolate pudding, the cornerstone of an American lunch. Not realizing that maybe my daughter was more involved than me at the same age. Suddenly, my friend's memory of how he brought a bean sandwich to school floated in my head like recyclable plastic. Picturing the beans seeping from the bread like an oil spill. Ooh, that's nasty is what they told him. So he never brought it again. Honestly, it seemed like I could never really fit in, never truly feel like I was real American. What does that actually me, it means watching wrestling with my dad on Saturday mornings with old school salsa blasting in the background, being awestruck as Macho Man Randy Savage likes a flying elbow drop while eating empanadas de queso with powdered sugar on top. It was also rooting for Bolivia at the U.S. World Cup and screaming at the top of my lungs until my voice left my body. See, I didn't learn until much older. It's possible to be both Latin and American. It's possible to balance both cultures like a circus performer riding a unicycle on top of a wire. It's possible to be proud of my mestizo features and want my children to be raised in the same neighborhood I grew up in. It's also possible for my English to tower over my Spanish and still be Latin American. And it's definitely possible to want to eat PB&J sandwiches because it reminds you of elementary school. Any carne asada con arroz, because it reminds you of being Bolivian. Home. Thank you very much.
Walker, great. I don't know why I can't say the word Walker. I have to say it like twice in a row before I get it. Does that happen to a lot of people who introduce you? I don't know. It feels like
Yeah,
it's a word I
a
should
lot of
just be
people think
able
my
to
name
say.
is Walter. No worries.
Um, great intro to us here at Cobalt Poets. I hope you come back and read some more to us. You got me thinking about like ways to like American Bolivian fusion food, like, you know, a peanut butter and asada sandwich. I don't know. It's just something that you could, you know, join worlds together. Think about it.
There you go. All right. Thank you.
Good to hear your work. Round of applause for Walker Valdez. Hey, I said it the first time, although that was like the 30th time. On deck, Dig Wayne. Please welcome now Heidi Casa. Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everybody. This one is called Little Wing After the Fire. The figure is made of ash and bone, long before the guitar spirals into a whirlwind. We're not meant to go where he goes. We're meant to witness what transcendence means. Decked in black and silver, the mix of rugged and jeweled, the mysterious glam of a man. Stevie wasn't someone who made his guitar sing. He took her with him. As a child, I couldn't touch the ideas of what a guitar could or couldn't do, how to break the known open. The backdrop of my childhood, this ashy figure, more myth than man, intangible largesse. The soundtrack to my childhood, made of more beauty than one entire life cut short could reveal. I had no idea Crossfire was more than the name of our dusty attic air hockey table. He seemed most earthly in the slow foundation of Life Without You, before her voice, before he stops to share pain of trying to get up, before she cries and calls us to rise from ash, to feel from our bones. I hear those riffs and see Stevie Ray's face twisting as he listens to her so completely on their journey upward. And this one is called Continued Lyrics. A flat, thick day, solid with boring chores, until one moment I'm walking. My mouth opens like a fish, and a song for you emerges. It slips out like fog, like any incomplete thing. Before my mouth closes on its last note, a response from you slides in, like one uninterrupted lyric. I snap my jaws like a shark, enclosing your song, swallowing it down. All day I open and close my mouth, an unthinking beam of an animal. Your songs rushing in, mine turning out, like the tides. I don't know when you wrote or sung them for me. Today I catch them. My songs for you surprise my belly. I can no longer hold them trapped, like a bubble inside. Thank you.
Heidi Casa showing us how it is done. Well done, Heidi. A beautiful piece there. Also astonished that your family gave a name to an air hockey table. I know how much time we put into just naming a cat, waiting for its personality to emerge, and I can't imagine how that worked with the air hockey table, but feels like it was good work to do. Heidi, thank you so much for being here.
I mean, it was like a brand of the, of the air hockey, whatever, but I'd like us to have been creative in naming it.
Yeah, I'd be like, Phil, the air hockey table. I don't know, but but very good. Little insight into a tiny detail of your past. Thank you for being here, as always, Heidi Casa. Everyone, round of applause for Heidi.
Thank you.
On deck, Yan Sham Shackleton. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. I got to They're kind of new. This one's called And Yes. And yes, I'm scared to death. Fox feathers all around my mouth, burrowing deeper into the axe handle. Whittled chips stop up reality like ghost breath. And yes, my fear acts as a turtle soup served in a shell, surrounding myself with myself. Find me in the dictionary as a cautionary tail wag. And yes, contrary to popular wisdom, the doors that hit you in the ass could be masquerading as windows, sills and all. Thank you. This one's called The Ugly Rumor. The ugly rumor was sweet on the tongue, a tonic for the mind, clearing congestion like a neighborly decapitation, traveling state to state, house to house, with the dream of perfection hidden in the indelible certainty of stars and tides. Like an ancient riddle unearthed but never questioned, passed down like trauma braids and silent cuckoo clocks. It started on Skid Row playgrounds between the monkey bars and the swimming pools when melancholy suaves retired from bum fights chucked their matador caps at the front doors of City Hall. Uppercase slander was libelous. All the best dirty jokes left town in a puff, huff, had enough, savoring life as it was meant to be, blustery, endless, magical, carcinogenic, bleak, beautiful, rewarding, truth in advertising, broken-hearted, back-breaking, pornographic, perfect, absolutely perfect, cosmic misfires, both hands. Thanks.
Great work, Dig. You got me thinking in that first poem, the phrase, when one door closes, another one opens, but the first one still hits you in the ass. Do you know that phrase?
I know that phrase. Yes, I know that. I'm a fan of doors, Rick.
Yeah? Do you prefer them open or closed or?
Probably closed.
Yeah, with like everyone else on the other side.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but why not?
A select group of people allowed
I
through.
enjoy my own company.
Well, you should have yourself over then, I think. Dig, thank you for being here. Always fun and good to hear your work. Round of applause for Dig Wayne.
Thank you.
On deck, Debbie Siegel. Please welcome now Yan Shem Shackleton. Hello, Yan.
This is my first time here. I'm a friend of Richard's. So thanks for letting me read. Okay, I have one short poem. Palisades. Small hands leave dirty prints on the transparent tank. The coral reef glows under black light. The blue tropical fish with a dash of yellow swim in between bright green gnarled polyps and orange petrified calcium. As the mini ocean bring joy, I wonder, are the fish and coral ethically sourced? After all, there is a black market trade, pet trade. When the fires came and burnt the building down, did the water boil first or the glass break?
Good question, Yan. Thank you so much. How do you pronounce your name? Because I've imagined 6 different ways.
I know, it's Yun, so Y-U-N.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the first part of the last name, Sham or?
Yes, Yun Sham Shackleton.
Yun Sham Shackleton. I'm going to try to remember that beyond this conversation, because I hope this isn't the only time you come to the Cobalt and you come back and read some more work for us in future readings.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Very good. Cool. Well, welcome to this space. Glad you were here. First time here, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for Yun Sham Shackleton. Okay, on deck, Rich Boucher. Please welcome now Debbie Siegel. Hi, Debbie.
Hello. Hug a cactus and get in. Attention, please, comrades. Regular people innovate from anywhere there's a USB port, making myths from mundane substances. Happenstance, to build a world of cards, hold them close to the chest where the heart beats. Here is embodied life, being, becoming, leaping around in quantum charnel grounds, jolly lurching to the hungry ghost bonfire to be fed and obliterated. Doubt creeps in. Then someone shouts, "We're either going to live forever or we're not." No time to explain. Hug a cactus and get in. Thank you.
Well, as soon as you find out which it is, let me know, because I need to know whether to make long-term plans. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Debbie, thank you for...
Both and.
Right. Debbie, thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Debbie Siegel. Chris Kondo, you're on deck. Please welcome now Rich Boucher. Hello, Rich.
Hey, hi. Good to see you again, Rick. Hi, everybody. Good evening. And this poem is called, I was about to say it's going to be called, but it's called Haboob Rolls. You are having your breakfast of egg and bacon and tasty hash brown patty. I am on my second cup of dark, automatic coffee. You look out the window just in time to watch the Sandia Mountains disappearing in a haze of dust. I look also, but imagine that I notice it first. Who among us doesn't want to be the Paul Revere of encroaching inclement weather? Time to go. I kiss you at the door, send you off to work. You turn the key to start the car. You drive off. I lock the door behind you. Start on my third cup of jet fuel. The traffic on 25 isn't too congested and the sun shines on you for the 20-minute drive. I turn the shower off and reach for the towel. The news on the Bluetooth speaker in the hallway tells me that the president has just outlawed all people of Chicano ancestry. That the president has just preemptively pardoned every college boy date rapist. That the president has just declared war on Liechtenstein for their crime of not having bothered anybody at all in the last century. An Alexa weather alert interrupts, chimes in to tell me that New Mexico is experiencing a visit from a haboob, that New Mexicans can expect the sandstorm to take away their visibility for the next hour or two as the haboob rolls over everything in sight like some amorphous 1950s drive-in horror monster. I look up this very strange and unknown word on my phone just as the neighbor's kid downstairs begins his daily banging against the wall for no reason I can tell. And this season's wasps are dancing, I can see, flitting about in a furious orbit around the wind chime on our patio. You've just pulled into the employee parking lot and you brace yourself for whatever nonsense awaits you at your job. Canada and Mexico have both initiated their launch sequences, says Rachel Maddow's face on the TV in the living room. Can I just ask if anyone is able to see anything out there? Remember, love, that sandwich place on Manal that had that amazing Cuban relish? When you're at work, I sometimes transport myself back to that afternoon, back to that overcast Friday, back to your laughter. I'm looking out the window right now at a sky the color of off-white printing paper, at a sky giving no indication at all of a horizon, and I'm wondering when I will see the mountains again. Thanks.
Great poem, Rich. Thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing that with us.
Thank you for letting me join and appreciate it.
No problem. Round of applause for Rich Boucher. I believe today is the first day in all of history that I've pronounced Rich's last name correctly, so I'm kind of excited about that. Years in the making, the preparation for tonight. On deck, Marietta Maglis. Please welcome now Chris Kondo. Hello, Chris.
Hello, can I share the screen? Just a minute here. Come on. This new iPad does strange things. Doesn't do what I want when I want to. One more minute, sorry, half a minute. Help. Okay, here we go. Share. It says only host can share this meeting, so I think share is off. Can I share?
I did change the setting. I'm perhaps
okay,
it hasn't
I'll try again.
updated on your end. I can't do anything else on this end.
Okay, just a second. Share. Okay, got it. Okay, so we have two about time. Okay, yesterday was 3:11 here. I know it's 3:11 over there. Okay. Neighborhood temple bell reverberates in memory of 3:11. I'm in Japan, in case others don't know. That was our big earthquake and tsunami. Okay, another one. Stop share and share again. And this is for you who had to change your clocks. I think that it's behind, actually, sorry. Isn't your clocks turned behind last weekend? I got it wrong. Anyway, clock turned ahead. 1 more hour left to stare at faces in the ceiling. And I could change it to clock turned behind, 1 less hour to stare at faces in the ceiling. I'm confused because we don't have daylight savings time. Anyway, thank you.
It confuses all of us when it actually happens.
I don't remember which way it went. I
know
think
why they're eating. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Behind or ahead this year?
We jumped ahead, spring forward.
Okay.
All right, well, Chris, thank you so much for sharing a bit of your world with us and the lovely imagery. Round of applause for Chris Kondo. Thank you, Chris. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Marietta Maglis. Hello, Marietta.
Hello. I have a poem entitled Zen Poem for Peace. Some folks still live in the memories of their homes, floods, hurricanes, quakes, volcanoes, insecurity, disorientation, panic, and confusion. They look at the words and air their views about what they breathe, see, hear, and feel, because they are still alive. The view of life can be shaped by truth. People need lands of love to create new citizenries. Bright tracer fires of the words and the red of aurora on the sky can redden the snow, the trees, the moon. Blood and sufferings, hearts, to bless and to sprinkle holy water. Expiation and inspiration, to harm life for the purpose of conquering the whole world, getting out, to own something that no longer exists, or to be a symphonic poem. A dwelling place for words needing interconnectedness to enhance understandings. Telltale sighs of love, loaves belonging to an otherworldly dimension. God, the gift, folks like pink sandcastles or like age-old allegories undergoing the Renaissance. All are born to run into their shadows, to be buried in order to become living worms, a part of us, not useful. Missing words, living words that grow up and multiply memories. Thank you very much.
Marietta, thank you so much. Nice to see you again. Thanks for being here. Marietta is coming to us from near Paris, France, which is quite a way to travel from where Chris was reading to us from Japan. which leads me to a round of applause for Marietta Maglas. Let's say that first, which leads me to Florence, Italy, where I wrote this particular poem from my book, It Spritz O'Clock Somewhere. This poem is called Good Morning, Florence. It is difficult to know what day it is on a trip like this. Often extra time and thought has to go into determining this information when someone, like your wife, asks you, "What day is it?" or you need a reference for when you are scheduled to be somewhere or leave a city. This morning, the double espresso is not quite as strong as the other days, and we're going to visit all the Catholicism possible. We're going to climb up the Catholicism and see what we can see from the top of the Catholicism. We're hoping not to fall off the Catholicism. We have to wear special clothes to not offend the Catholicism. We will go into the Museum of Catholicism. I'm also hoping for a gift shop of Catholicism. They have the biggest Catholicism here, and we hope to be impressed by it despite our different allegiances and regardless of what day it is. We've got Judaism scheduled for later. They have just a little bit of Judaism here. I just wish it could be Thursday. How do you even know? Coffee was so much stronger. Morning poem from Florence, Italy, and this is a poem that I wrote for this week's Torah portion. It follows this line of text. Aaron and all Israelites saw Moses, and behold, the skin of his face was radiant. They were afraid to approach him. This poem is called Fear and Loathing in the Desert. We saw the burning bush on Moses' face, and we were afraid of him. We desert-bound people who saw a sea part and frogs fall out of the sky. We homeward-bound ex-slaves who didn't yet know what to do with our freedom. We empty slates waiting to be filled with knowledge from lips on a radiant face. We were not prepared for the radiance, a face glowing with residual God. We had no idea only our children's feet would take this knowledge to the promised place. Be careful with our knowledge, with our righteousness, with the things we know, our self-assured raison d'etre, this glow of history and promise. It frightens the neighbors. Approach with a veil of humility. Their light, their knowledge is worth knowing. All right. Hey, we did it, ladies and gentlemen. Epic evening. Tons of open readers that read like the open reading list read like a roll call of the immortals. I'd have to say, so much good poetry tonight. Special thanks to our featured reader, Keith Marr, who really gave us a fantastic reading today. A long-awaited one. Second time's the charm there. Pasted into the chat again the stuff. You can tip Keith for his reading at the PayPal ID I just pasted there. Please consider doing that. You can download Keith's broadside at the Cobalt Poets website, the link I just pasted right there. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, that's poetrysuperhighway.com/Cobalt, C-O-B-A-L-T. When you're on the Cobalt Poets website, if you're new or not already on our email list, you can click on email list and add your email there, and you'll start getting emails every week letting you know who's coming up, and with a convenient link to join the Zoom as well. Also on the Cobalt Poets website is the calendar of who is coming up in future weeks. Next week, Jacqueline Allen Trimble will be our reader. She's a poet who I came across from the Poem a Day series that Academy of American Poets produces. Perhaps you get it in your email every morning too. That's how I came across her. She'll be with us next week. Finally, back to Keith. You can follow him on Instagram at instagram.com/enterthepoet. Thanks everyone for being here, for sticking around all night. Thanks to our new folks who are here for the first time. Great to have you. Please come back. I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button in case you all want to interact with each other before we shut this thing down.
Interaction.
Interaction.
Time to interact. Yes.
Interact.
Fantastic.
Interactions of
Yes.
interactions. Satisfaction of interaction. Interaction of interaction.
That's how poets interact.
No redaction. No interaction.
In the spirit of
Without redaction.
I feel like
In the-
he's just picking up traction.
There you go.
Ken.
Interaction
In
of
the-
And we're
interaction.
getting Ken and Keith mixed up all night.
Don't forget that contraction action.
In the spirit of interacting, I want to offer profuse thanks to Rick for all of his work in getting my last name right. It's been a journey, and I told myself I don't want to get emotional, and I told myself I wouldn't do this, but I'm getting emotional about it.
Yep. And here you are.
And yet here I am.
I hope
right.
it sticks. I just found out that Denise Dumars is pronounced Dumars and not a silent Z or S as I've been pronouncing for I think years at this point, and that's going to be a few months before I get that right. But it takes a village of people correcting me, basically.
I was so when I featured at this reading and by the way, Keith, I apologize for being late. I got the thing late, so I wasn't present, and I apologize. I know you did amazingly. When I featured here before, and when you first read my name aloud, one of my best friends, I told him about it because we've known each other since the 4th grade, and he has always rejoiced at people getting my last name wrong, just because